We're not talking about Captain Kirk.
Oh, not Captain Kirk.
We're not talking about Captain. He's a scam. He's different. That's Mr. Trubisky. Yeah, that's a completely different category,
bro.
Something that we were incredibly right about, and that I feel like, I've been on this boat all season, is that the Bears were the worst 3-0 team we'd ever seen. They're the worst 4-0 team we had ever seen. They're the worst 4-1 team, 5-1 team. They were the worst, whatever their standings are, win losses, the worst of whatever their record is, as long as they're positive. They will be the worst. And Nick Foles and the Bears proved it last night. Up against a real team. Granted, the West is incredibly, and we'll touch on this later, the West is incredibly good. But they looked awful. They, if not for a scoop score at the beginning of the fourth quarter, they would have put up the same number of points as the Cowboys. And the Cowboys were depleted and looked terrible.
But we don't
and
know.
The Bears are supposed to be a contender.
The Bears' strength also is not on the offensive side of the ball.
Correct.
Hence why that was probably a season high for points allowed for them.
They were getting gashed
at 24 points.
They were getting gashed.
I think if that's the most amount of points that you've given all season, considering looking at all the other teams that we've talked about are so great, they've definitely allowed twice as many points. That their defense is just playing strong, and I want to compliment how strong once again the NFC West is. I wanted to say that's how originally one of my points that I was going to be wrong about is how good the Bears were, because just looking at them, they haven't given up more than 24 points in a game all season, and
they gave up 26 to the Falcons.
Did they?
Mm-hmm. 26 to the Falcons, but that's the most they've given up all season.
Yes, that's still not that bad, and they've been playing tough. I thought that they were gonna get washed, but they keep doing all right. But again, I want to see that division is going to come down to the very first Chicago-Green Bay game. Even if Chicago wins and it's close, then I'm going to give the division to Green Bay. So Chicago will have to make a statement for me to prove that they are going to be able to win this division in that game by beating Green Bay.
Yeah, I think that the Bears. No, I'm even more off on the Bears than I was previously. After seeing them up against a real opponent, because the only other real team that they had played was the Bucs, and they intercepted Tom Brady like 18 times or something like that. Oh, no, they
Tom Brady forgot what down it was.
That game, yeah. So but Tampa Bay was a little depleted on the offensive side of the ball that game. So it is what it is. They weren't moving the ball like they normally are. That's been their one real win. Everyone else they face is like a middling team. They barely beat the Giants. They barely beat the Falcons. They lost the Colts, and then they got blown out. It was 24-3 convincingly, and then scoop score to make it 10. But they got thoroughly outplayed on both sides of the ball. It was just not. It was not a good game whatsoever.